It is indeed an honor for me to welcome you to this special event that commemorates the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington. In 1963, the March was a defining moment in our nation's history, and today is a defining moment for our campus community because it symbolizes our unity and our commitment to social justice.
It is not enough for us just to remember that special event of 50 years ago, an event that was instrumental in bringing about change in our country, an event that ultimately resulted in the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. It is for us today to rededicate ourselves to the purpose of the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, and to rededicate ourselves to the life and legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King.
I deeply appreciate the opportunity to be here today to mark the 50th anniversary of the March on Washington and the occasion of Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. We remember that speech for its powerful refrain in which King reminds us that the freedom and prosperity to which our nation aspires will always be a work in progress. Yes, we are here to honor this anniversary and the legacy of King and the marchers, but we are also here to continue the march toward equality, to continue the fight for justice, and to continue the work necessary to ensure that every citizen has the opportunity to pursue the dream that was not just Dr. King's, but is every American's.
Last week, I was listening to a presentation on servant leadership, and it shouldn't surprise anybody here that Dr. King's I Have a Dream speech was Exhibit A for servant leadership. 50 years, almost 50 years after he delivered the speech. And Dr. King's life, when we take a look at that, his life can be looked at as an example of servant leadership in many ways, but particular what we were talking about was how great leaders communicate the vision of what they want to see happen before they get into the details. As you might notice, Dr. King, when he got up to stand up before the universe that day, didn't say, I have a 5-point detailed proposal for civil rights legislation, right? He said, I have a dream. And he fired the world up on that day.
I want to announce today that the university is starting on a 5-year project that's called Project Progress. The idea came to us from Dr. Ricky Jones from our Pan-African Studies Department. And Ricky, I just have to tell you that when you came to talk to me about this, I just had a moment of realizing how proud Dr. Blaine Hudson would have been of you. For every one of the next 5 years, we'll be bringing together people at our university and in the community to showcase 3 to 5 signature events per semester that remembers what happened in 1963, what happened in 1964, 65, 66, 67, 68, those years that were so tumultuous and moving for our country.
As I look at the students gathered here today, it's difficult for me to picture mentally that 50 years ago this very day and at this time, I was in my junior year at Howard University and standing in the midst of the largest civil rights demonstration ever held in the United States. The stated purpose of that march was to lobby for passage of the Civil Rights Bill that President Kennedy had introduced and sent up to Congress. The unstated purpose was to reveal to the people of the United States and of the world the intensity and seriousness of the Negro demand for equality. We all knew that the speech delivered by Dr. Martin Luther King sent chills up and down our spines and set our souls on fire. But who would imagine that we had just witnessed one of the greatest speeches ever delivered?